Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Bork. In today's video, we'll be talking about quitting gacha games. Just note this does not affect the channel. I'm still going to be making gacha content. Don't worry about that. But I just wanted to share my thoughts on this in case you guys are wondering like, hey Bork, are you playing these games? Now you will know how I quit and how quickly you can probably determine whether I'm playing a game or not. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this. One of the biggest things for me is the gameplay interactive, or does it have some sort of hook that makes me keep coming back? Like, for example, is there an upgrading system that I really like? Is the action good? Numbers simulator, is it like actually fun to crunch numbers and build different characters? Are the builds fun? It's like those little things for me. Like, even if it's an idle RPG, you could sort of say that with Princess Connect, but it's a little bit more active. But what I'm trying to say is that everyone has a particular taste, and if the game doesn't hook you based off of gameplay, I think it's sort of hard to justify whether you should continue playing the game, because the gameplay starts feeling like a chore. That's definitely a sign of like, hey, you should probably take a minute, question whether you're playing the game, or are you just doing dailies and just not really caring about the game and you just want to do more pulls. And this sort of goes into the next reason as to whether I should quit a game or not outside of gameplay, is how fast I can complete my dailies. So for example, do my dailies take 30 minutes? Does it take an hour? Is it fun to complete my dailies? Do I feel like I am progressing when I complete my dailies? Oh, this was actually satisfying for me because I have another goal or I have something else to do while I'm, playing the gacha. I'm not just going through my hamster wheel and trying to find some sort of like meaning behind why I'm still playing the game. Goes into another topic where after dailies, is the game getting a little bit too repetitive for me? So by that, is it like, am I just doing the same thing over and over again? Is there more meaningful content coming in the future? Just stuff like that. Because I know a lot of the times when I'm playing gacha games, it feels like I'm in some sort of weird loop and it doesn't feel like anything's happening. No matter how much currency I save, it doesn't feel like I'm gonna pull the characters. So this rolls around into another topic where it's like monetization and actually having free pulls and having some sort of balance between free to play and whales. I'm not saying free to play need to keep up with whales. I'm just saying that if the game has like pretty decent mechanics, then most of the time free to play can at least be at somewhat of a level of a whale. Like they can be in the top, like, 1,000 at best, not top 100 or something, or they can just generally participate in the game and they won't be a burden towards everyone else. I feel like in PGR, you don't really have to whale whatsoever because you can essentially get everything for free. Same thing with games like Princess Connect and all that stuff. So that's one of the biggest factors that I like to sort of look for, is like, hey, is the monetization is good? And if it is, then I'll probably keep playing because I see sort of like a future where I don't have to spend copious amounts of money in order to play the game. And then the last part is there anything sort of new going on with the actual game itself? Like, do I see like future content coming in every 2 weeks? Do I see it coming in every month? So on and so forth. If I don't see anything really happening, then I don't really see a reason as to why I would keep playing. But let's go ahead and jump into the meat of it and talk about what games I'm actually playing. So this is the Google spreadsheets, as you can see, and there are only 4 games on this list. So it's Princess Connect, Genshin Impact, and Axie Infinity, and Punishing Gray Raven. I think I'm going to turn Punishing Gray Raven into a weekly game. I'm not really playing it daily as much as I would want to, mostly because of the fact that I don't really feel like I need to pull for many other characters. The only reason why you would log in and do dailies is so one, you can increase your characters, but most of all, save up enough black cards so you can pity the next character who's rolling around. Personally speaking, I'm not really like attached to anyone. Alpha was like the most hype character that I wanted to pull for, and the other characters that I want, it's much later down the road, but I feel like everyone should be saving for S. Bianca. This is just a personal preference. All of my things that I'm stating on why I'm quitting gacha games, that is just personal preference. I think you have noticed that there are quite a few games missing on this list, and that's where I go to my memorial page. All right, so these are the games that I'm not playing. If you're wondering, Counterside is here, Alchemy Stars is here, Princess Connect JP, it's sort of here. Probably log in like once a month. I am still sort of playing. When it comes down to this, I ran these games through my process where it's like, all right, Nier, I didn't really like the gameplay loop personally. I thought it was okay at first, but when it came down to like gear grinding and all the upgrading systems, it wasn't for me and it was just a little bit too time consuming. Alchemy Stars was a really fun game. It just wasn't for me because I didn't like A3ing everything. It took a while for me to sort of like, I guess, grind up stuff. I feel like Alchemy Stars is a great game, especially if you have pretty decent amount of like free time. I feel like this is actually one of the more time consuming and relatively like tactical games once you get really good good at it. And I think that's why a lot of people love Alchemy Stars, because it really values your time, especially if you can play. But personally, I don't have enough time to play Alchemy Stars, and hence why I sort of dropped it. But this is all personal opinion. I think Alchemy Stars is a fantastic game. I wish I could have stuck with it. I think the same thing of Near Reincarnation when it comes to like the latest RPGs. Very beautiful game. That's where it's definitely shining. When it comes to counter side, I definitely like this game quite a bit. I am just waiting for Global, if Global ever plans to release. I don't think covering C is really good for the channel because people just ask when is Global releasing. I'm hoping to cover this game in the future. If you haven't seen, I've covered Uma Musume. This is like the horse game that I was playing, like the horse waifu game. That one was pretty hype. Then there is Counterside KR. You know, I was just playing that so I could see some of the KR stuff. And then there's Princess Connect JP that I do log into once in a while. And all the other like gacha games that I used to play. They're sort of everywhere. And I used to play Heroes Contrae and Sinnoh Alice. Heroes Contrae was really good at the beginning, and then all of the content just felt sort of stale for me. Still think it's a good game because it has some of the best, you know, webtoon characters and the history of like gacha. It's by far the best webtoon gacha when it comes to just having all the IPs. And then I feel like Guardian Tales is absolutely amazing. Sinnoh Alice, it got way too pay to win for me. That's why I personally quit. And also the community was really fantastic in Sinnoh Alice, but another part of it was just schedule specific. I couldn't have a game dictate my schedule because I already have like a tight enough schedule when it comes to like working, school, all the different things, doing YouTube, and then, you know, maintaining my relationships with my family and all that stuff. When it comes down to everything, I really love gacha games. And one of the things I have to say is I am just sort of slowing down on them because I feel like I'm in a period where I'm sort of burning out on them. I'm still going to be making content, but I feel like I might be creating a separate channel for like the NFT stuff that I'm playing. And no, I am not going to try to convince you to buy some like crap coin that's existing on the internet. I don't think anyone should get into NFTs unless you actually want to sort of get into them. And when I say NFTs, I'm talking about like crypto games in particular. I'm not talking about collecting JPEGs and stuff because I personally just want to play like the actual games. You've seen me, I've covered like Axie Infinity. That was a really fun game for me personally. It's going through some balancing issues. It's not the perfect game, but you know, it's just one of those things I'm looking into because there's a piece of me that's a little tired of like playing gacha games where I'm dumping a lot of money into it, and I do get like probably greatest satisfaction playing gacha games, but it ends up being a money sink in some ways, whereas NFT gaming, I can own the characters, I can trade the characters. Like for example, like everyone would have the ability to pull for alpha or some sort of character, and then you could put them up on a marketplace and people could just buy it outright instead of pulling it on a gacha. Might be more expensive on the marketplace, but it's just something, you know, future games might be looking into. But it also comes down to the fact where the game is more decentralized, so the developers don't completely own all of the assets and the players actually own some of the assets. If you're wondering how that all works, it all just boils down to like decentralized gaming and all that stuff, and just players earning and owning like the stuff that they're actually like playing with versus like the developers owning everything. I think it's just like something where gaming is sort of moving towards, but don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be playing gachas. I'm still going to be covering like the latest content that I want to cover when it comes to gacha games and all this stuff. So don't worry on that. But when it comes to like PGR videos, that's probably going to be slowing down. When it comes to overall gacha content, I only want to cover stuff that I feel like I want to cover. Let's go ahead and finish up this fight, and you know, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about quitting gacha games in general. I know a lot of people, you know, sometimes it can also big burn on the wallet unless you're staying relatively free to play. I'm happy to say that with Princess Connect and with all the new gachas that I've been trying, I've actually stayed free to play for quite some time, like roughly a month and some change, which is pretty long for me, all things considered. And I think that just really goes to show how powerful the community is, because the community is a huge advocate for staying free to play within this space. But yeah, hopefully my thought process on how I quit like a bunch of gacha games and how I filter through the ones that I want to keep playing, and just to go over it, it's mostly just, is the gameplay good? Are the dailies pretty decent? Is the game feeling repetitive all like during any of the stuff that I'm doing? Is the monetization good? Like, is it fair for everyone? Can free to play compete somewhat? Can they not be locked behind content? And is there future events coming into the game? Anyways, if you made it this far in today's video, consider subscribing, dropping a like, leaving a comment, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. I love gacha games. Thanks so much for being here. Can't wait to cover more content. Hopefully this video helped you out in case you're feeling stuck on a gacha game that you feel like you should be quitting. Thanks so much. Have yourself a fantastic day. and I will see you in the next one.